Yes.
I would say interviewed on phone and used cocaine. Would I say that? Okay. Thank you.
All right. Jana's here. Trey's here. Bianca's here. Noah's here. No Sam. No Amelia. No me. Tyler. Hannah. Zach. Hannah. No Airwick. Hannah. No Kelvin. Cheyenne. Jillian. Maddie. Molly. Michelle. Mabel. Bum bum ba dum.
I was looking and I dropped it down. Oh, that's my first.
Sorry.
We gotta talk about the game.
800. Oh wait. Yeah, right? Oh wait. Where's it? I already have 24 Yeah, 24.
Because I'm not invited. Yeah, but Harry is
Oh, R and I.
Yes, okay.
Alright, Jillian, you're up.
Stop,
Oh, large counts.
I want to forget that. That was bad.
All are greater than 5. Independent then is
Huh? No? Were you just singing? Harry Styles just singing?
I know, right? You guys are so talkative.
I'm sorry.
I thought you said so toxic.
That's what we are.
It
takes so
long
to do these though.
Yeah, especially when you talk. Especially
Well, when I stopped talking, I was working the entire day. To earn it once, like, you have to finish. You're like, Maddie. Wait, did everybody pass the unit business?
She hasn't graded them yet. I started rating them. Thank you very much.
That's okay. Oh! No.
I was also thinking of just doing a blonde catcher.
Maddie, what was that word?
It has to be longer though. I'm gonna get it longer and then I'm gonna dye a piece of
How do you know what that word
blonde.
is?
It's gonna be my solar flare.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I'm gonna radiate.
It's such a weird look.
No, it's my
It's
solar
like you
flare.
spilled the bleach on your
Oh,
head.
sorry.
Like,
No.
no,
Just call
don't
it
do
Dennis
it.
Rodman. Just
It'll
do
look
whatever wacky.
I'm gonna do it to you.
No.
He gets suspended.
When you're not looking, I'm gonna go like that.
She's not looking.
What are you gonna do?
Like, you
You gonna paint it?
Yep.
It's all uneven and splotchy.
I think that's the worst.
I don't get it though. Like seriously.
What?
Just a
Frosted
little
tips?
block.
Is that
No.
what it's
Splotch.
No, the like random blonde circle.
What?
Just one or multiple?
One.
Just
Did
one.
you get multiple?
No.
Like a
Why
leopard.
would you even do one?
Like a leopard? You know, just like blonde hair. and then-
that's cool.
No, just a blonde.
You try it out for us, Zach. See
Okay.
how it goes.
I will.
All right, Bianca's going to conclude for us.
Exactly. What's my margin?
Good job. Proud of you.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I have it right there too. Largest interviewed by phone used cocaine.
Does it matter when?
No.
Oh, my God. My dad's birthday is April 22nd.
You might want to use that with yours. Oh, so I kind of did.
Oh, like a short.
Yeah.
No, really.
I would put one of those.
You're the reason we should
I
can steal everyone.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but also we play. It also includes like music, so they have like all the other bands come and play. So we were playing on it, our jazz band was. And they had like really jokes, which is whatever ends up like.
Or I can just buy an
We're like
ATM and
evangelical, and then they had
like it'll work as an ATM.
I watched people get a fight. Actually, at Sweatcamp. Well, so there's people
You
who
see,
like pride
what do you,
flags.
Miss Whittle, what do you think about Elon buying
Like,
Twitter?
like awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And then people who have signs.
I don't
attacking.
know. Am I
Like, not like physical,
supposed to
like,
care?
They would walk.
Yeah,
They're mean.
Oh.
I walked past their stand. and
'Cause
they
if
tried to
he-
give me, like,
if he
and
he
As
said
long
that-
as he doesn't rename it like he named his kid. We're
it's
good.
pronounced like Zach or something.
And then also like say that
Excellent.
science is
EA12,
fake on it.
Yeah.
And she's like,
I thought it was like, or no, it's Ash or something.
I have no idea.
It's
Say
Ash.
no.
no.
Then play what Craig and his son go.
As long as he leaves.
I would not.
No way.
I don't know.
I don't think so. No way he would do that. No, he said that if Twitter doesn't sell Twitter to him, then he's gonna take, because he owns like,
Oh my god, I almost
he owns like 90% of it in a share of it. And so he said that if they don't sell it to him, he's gonna take all of his shareholding out. Which will like drop the price of it like super, like a lot.
Where the camera lights are?
Invest in Twitter, guys. I've been there.
Even men know that.
So he gave him an ultimatum.
Yeah.
Either you sell or you lose money.
Or like your price is gonna go down.
So
So I'm
he's
not
really
pulling
not
out.
that committed to it. Also,
I don't know why, he's like obsessed with
outside the
Twitter.
key bank. Let me
I mean,
know.
he does.
Tell us.
He says he wants to turn it into he wants to make it so
We're so bad. We're like, well, then we know what.
Do you use Twitter?
I want to start using it.
I
Really?
love-
That's how I've been using a lot of shit.
That's funny.
People are actually so funny. Like when the Goose Rock thing happened, it was so
Here's the thing, though.
on Twitter. Like
I don't.
no,
I don't tweet.
Him and Pete Davidson started dating.
No, I only get Twitter because Elon. I love Elon.
Oh, you see the funny show.
But yeah, he looks weird.
He's my hero. I want to kiss him.
Okay, I got it until you said the kiss part. He can be your hero.
You don't
Why
like this
kiss him?
Elon Musk?
No.
Is this being recorded?
Yeah.
Elon Musk is better.
No.
What did you say?
I said he's better than Mr. Bellsburg.
No.
I don't know. No. Yeah, he is.
You don't want a rich daddy?
He,
And then if you divorce him, you get all his money? No, half the money.
anywho,
Pull a
back
check.
back to math and cocaine. Let's stop talking about me marrying Elon Musk. Let's get back to cocaine here.
I can see that.
All right. What? What?
Bro, you'd be loaded.
I don't care about money.
Oh, yay!
You only care about
You don't
Rosie
need money to.
I care about money.
Yes, seriously. No, it is completely true.
And a teacher.
Is right here. And her husband's a teacher.
Right? Right? I don't care about money.
But like, doesn't it make things better?
Oh my gosh. Back to math. So,
You could live on both.
okay, I will say when they started sanctioning all those Russian, I'm going to say the word wrong, oligarchs or whatever, however, and they have their like $100 million yachts. I would love to see what it looks like on the inside of one of those. Well, I don't care.
Yo,
But I would love to see what it looks like
So
on
if
the
you're saying I
inside.
donated $1 million to you.
No, I really wouldn't.
But it just to have, like,
wait, I
you
thought
know
that
what
was
I
a
mean?
Just to be like, see, here I have a yacht.
I would
Okay, stop distracting me with these questions. P-value 0.0049. So Bianca came up here and put for us that means it is statistically significant. We reject H null, and we would conclude that the results for the three groups are different. Largest contributor to our chi-square value is those who were interviewed by phone and used cocaine. Questions before we get into... Can I zoom in? Bye, birthday girl.
I'm going to the bathroom.
Okay. Am I not allowed to say bye?
I'm not sure.
Anna, I zoomed in for you. Anna, why don't you take a picture?
I'm sorry. I'm almost done. Zach just told me something really funny.
Zach always says something funny.
Oh, but this one's the funniest.
Okay, but take a picture so I can flip my page.
Take a picture of last longer.
No, respect lasts longer.
Okay, I'm good. I was taking control with.
Oh, Maddie, I'm glad you got my joke.
Like, or you see a picture
All right.
of last longer.
he's like old enough.
5. Okay, cool. All right.
That's after you go.
Suppose that we're interested in finding out what sports high school students play. In particular, we're interested in finding out if a student's current math class has any relationship with the sport that they play. We took a random sample of 335 high school students who play one sport. The data is below. So math class, geometry, algebra 2, and pre-calculus. Sport is baseball, volleyball, football, and basketball. Do these data show a statistically significant relationship between current math class and sport played? So today the test is called on, yeah. Well, no, but yeah.
There's no way football players are great.
Right? I know. Too many hits to the head. I'm just being honest. All right. It is called a different test, but it's the same process as yesterday. So yesterday the test was called chi-square test of homogeneity, and we were looking at whether the results were similar. Now it's called a chi-square test of association because we're looking at whether there is a relationship between the math class and the sport played. The other name that this one is called sometimes is chi-square test of independence. They get used interchangeably. So chi-square test of association, which I'm going to abbreviate, also known as chi-square test of independence, which I'm going to abbreviate. So if you look at the wording from the warm-up, the question said, are the differences between the three groups statistically significant? So we were looking at whether they were the same, homogeneity. Then we're here looking at whether there's a relationship. Another word for relationship is association. So that's where you can kind of pick up on the keywords to tell you which one. But in the calculator, it's the same process. We write our H null and HA differently here. So on the warm-up, Cheyenne came up, I don't remember her exact wording, but it was something about the three groups were the same, and the alternative was they're not the same. Here, with our null hypothesis, we're This one always gets me. You're going to assume no association, and your alternative is to prove an association. It seems backwards, but if you think about, instead of saying the same here, we would assume that there is no difference, and we prove a difference. So it's kind of the same idea. We're going to assume no association, and then prove otherwise, possibly, depending on what our p-value is. So there is no association, and I'm going to abbreviate again, between math and sport. The alternative is that there is an association.
Wait, why is it backwards?
Well, it's not really backwards. So if instead of saying on the warm-up the three groups were the same, we would say there is no difference. So it's kind of the same idea. We're assuming no association and possibly going to prove otherwise. But it does feel backwards. It feels like we always take the positive idea and make it our null. Sorry, I didn't realize to push the paper up so high. And then other thing in state is your alpha level, 0.05. Plan, we're gonna give our test name. So like yesterday, we wrote chi-square homogeneity, even though in the calculator it just said chi-squared test. Same thing here. We're going to put that it's chi-squared test of association, but in the calculator it's just called chi-square. And then we're going to check our three conditions: random, large counts, and independence. Random tells us up here it's a random sample. So I'm going to quote random. Large counts, we need to find our expected counts. We'll come back to that in a minute. Independent is the sample size is less than or equal to 1/10 of the population. It doesn't say that we are looking at a single high school only. And there are definitely more than 3,350 high school student athletes in the country, I would assume. I would think so. All right, so for the large counts, we're going to go back and find our expected values. I really should learn to just put the lines from the table instead of not, but sorry. I suppose that you don't really need the lines. I like them. They make it, I don't know, make it easier to read. So to find our expected counts, formula is the same as yesterday. So how do we do that?
Row total times column total over grand total.
Thank you, sir. Row total times column total divided by grand total. So we need to find all our totals.
Do we have to put the decimal?
Yes, you should. Grand total. Alright, 35 plus 42 plus 11 is 88. Sorry, I won't say it out loud. So, oops, I can't type. I'm just going to 1. All right. Mine are the expected counts are written in orange. All of them are greater than 5. So down in the plan, I just put expected greater than or equal to 5. So the do, like I said, is just like yesterday. So we need to put our observed data in a matrix and our expected data in the next matrix, and then run the chi-square test. But before we do that, under the do, we draw the picture, and we have to have our degrees of freedom. And how do we find degrees of freedom? Row minus 1 times column minus 1. I'm going to write it over here. Let's see, make sure I'm on the board. Rows minus 1 times column minus 1. How many rows do we have? 3. Geometry, algebra 2, and pre-calc. And how many columns? 4. Baseball, volleyball, football, basketball. 3 minus 1 is 2, and 4 minus 1 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So we have 6 degrees of freedom, which means when we draw our distribution, we're going to have the peak, and it's going to skew to the right. It's not going to be that funky, like, concave one. Is that the right? I feel like every time I see it, that's the right word, but I also don't know. There we go. All right. Do we remember how to get to the matrix? Second x to the negative 1. Make sure you go over to edit. I don't know why they didn't put edit as the first one. They do on most of the other things where you can edit. But this one's the last one. We have 3 by 4 this time. So you need to change it up at the top, make it a 3 by 4. And it creates those extra columns for you. This one should be the observed data. So 35, 34. Remember, it goes across, not down. And then put your expected data in matrix B, please. the same calculator function as yesterday, but on our problem we write a different test name because we're testing an association, not a similarity.
But it goes from left to right.
So all you have to do for do is draw degrees freedom in the calculator.
Yeah, and then the calculator gives you your chi-square value and your p-value. And if you have it draw, for the most part, all the ones we've had haven't had any shading, but you should have it draw just in case, make sure. Sometimes you do have to shade in your distribution. Everybody got their matrices in there? Give you like another minute.
The conclusions seem to.
Yeah, and you have to have a sentence about your largest contributor as well. I know. All right, stat tests. I find it easier to scroll up. We're working with C, same calculator function as yesterday, chi-square test. I put my observed in A, my expected in B. I am going to have it draw, just in case I need to shade. No shading. All right, so chi-square is 28.961. Did anybody hit calculate?
Yeah.
Did you get a different p-value than me? I got 0.0001. What did you get?
I don't think I did it right, so.
Did you get 0.00006?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
I don't know why it does that, but sometimes,
it's
like I said,
It's like 6.18 e to the negative.
Yeah.
what I see.
so
Oh, I didn't see the e to the negative 5.
So I do the draw to make sure I don't have to shade anything, but then because it's a really small p-value, the calculator has this weird thing. It'll, like I have shown sometimes, it'll just say p equals 0 when you hit draw, but then if you go into calculate, it gives you an actual like number, and there 1 to the e to the negative 4 is pretty much the calculator saying 0. So it is best to use the p-value from calculate, not draw. But the draw said, this is what calculate gives us, and draw said this. Either way, whichever one you write down, they're both going to make us reject our null and say that it's statistically significant. But go with the one you get under calculate because technically it's more accurate. Good? All right, conclude. So even though you should write the full long novel, how about we bare bones it? Zach's like, yes, bare bones.
That's writing.
All right, so do we have, okay, like yesterday, I'm going to verbally say the whole thing, but I'm going to write the key points. So assuming H null is true, there is a 0.000062 probability of getting a chi-square greater than or equal to 28.961 purely by chance. This provides weak or strong? Strong evidence against H null. And is or is not statistically significant?
Is.
And we would say at alpha level
0.05.
0.05. Thank you, Hayden. And then usually in parentheses we put that p is less than alpha. Therefore, we reject or fail to reject? Reject H null and conclude there is an association. Thank you. Conclude there is an association. Am I off the board? I'm assuming silence means no. Math ends board. All right, largest contributor. Yeah, I would say this part's the worst part about these tests. The chi-square golf, it's nice because the calculator gives you the list. It's nice and simple. This one doesn't. So let's see. 27.8. That's what? 7.2 away from 35? 38.4 is 3.6 away. 21.8, that's 9.2. 34 and 25.3, that'd be what? 8.7, right? Okay, good. You guys gotta double check me. 25 and 34.9, that's 9.9, right? 21 and 19.8, that's 1.2. Oh, 12, that's 17.1. So far, that's the biggest. 40.1, that's 9.9. 7.2. 1.3. 3.7 for 2.4. So it's football and geometry. That one's nice because when we find the difference, that one's the biggest, so it's obvious. On the warm-up, we didn't write the expected counts, but I believe both of these were the same distance away, and so then you had to look at which one had the smaller expected counts, which was the used cocaine. But when the difference, there's only one really large difference, then you don't have to do the whole divided by. So our largest contributor is football players in geometry. All right, so any questions before we do the little summary below? So there are 3 chi-square tests. We've looked at all of them. Chi-square Goff looked at one variable and one population. We looked at the color distribution in Skittles. Key thing there is you have a claimed distribution that you're comparing to. Chi-square test of homogeneity looked at one variable in 2 or more populations. And we looked at Facebook habits for high school students. The keyword that tells you you're looking at a chi-square test of homogeneity is something about differences. So like I said in the warm-up, it said, is there significant evidence that are the differences between the 3 groups significantly statistically significant. Excuse me. Yesterday in our notes, the wording was, does the data provide statistically significant evidence that EKHS have different Facebook habits? So the key word there is different or difference. That tells you you're looking at whether things are similar. So you're using the test of homogeneity. And then today we looked at the chi-square test of association, which, remember, sometimes they use the word independence. And that looks at two or more variables in one population. So we looked at math, sport. There's our two variables in high school students. And I forgot, I just noticed, sorry, on this one I forgot to put multiple high schools. Keyword that's going to tell you you're working with this one: relationship, association. Questions before I flip? Alright. So we are, but we're not. Obviously, I filled in space. So I'm not going to have you do the whole state plan do conclude part. We're mainly going to do and then right here, we're going to talk about something really cool. Well, I think it's cool. So you guys probably won't, because that seems to be how it goes. All right. Okay, this is like one of my favorite. Have you guys seen the original 101 Dalmatians?
Yes.
The opening where all the dogs look like their owners, that's one of my favorite openings to a movie. I love that. All right. And so, yeah, I don't know. It just makes me think that. Some people look a lot like their pets.
What?
Do they?
Yes. Yes.
No, we didn't get our dog yet. They're keeping it until June so that we don't have to leave a puppy at home, which is nice. So, yes and no. I mean, it's our dog. We named it. They're calling it the name. River.
That's
River.
cute.
Yes. No. Molly wanted it to be Ruby really bad, and we couldn't all agree on Ruby, so it's River Ruby. I tried to tell her River Lily because, like, I don't know, that flows better, but whatever. You guys are getting my humor. I'm rubbing off on you with these corny jokes. All right. Anyways, so no, we don't have our puppy. No, I do not look like our puppy.
Wait, what kind of puppy is it?
It's a silver lab mixed with a German short-haired pointer.
Is it gonna be smart?
Of course.
Are you gonna do flashcards with it?
Have you not heard Mr. Belgium brag about how he trains his kids? I think he'll brag about training dogs. He brags about training his kids.
Really? I haven't heard that he brags about training his kids.
He does like upper conditioning.
He likes to do the marshmallow test with our kids. They all passed, by the way. That's our puppy.
Wait, what's
So you
marshmallow?
put a marshmallow in front of them and you say, I'm in back in 15
Oh
minutes,
my
don't
gosh.
eat
He
this.
does kind of look like
And if you don't eat it, you get a second
I have
marshmallow.
green eyes.
Green eyes.
Maybe it's the hair.
It's
That's very nice. It's the plaid collar.
Yeah, you leave a marshmallow and you say, I'm going to walk away, and if you don't eat it, you can have 2 when I get back. And some little kids
It's like
can,
testing patience.
yeah,
It's
some
like
kids
skills.
can wait,
Teach someone how
some
to
kids
save
can't.
money.
All right, anyways, back to the math. So this example has to do with people who look like their dogs, pets. Maybe they deliberately choose animals that match their appearance, or maybe we are perceiving similarities that aren't really there. Researchers at the University of California collected the following data from a random sample of 45 dogs and their owners. So we have purebred dogs, mixed breed dogs, resemble their owners and don't resemble their owners. Do we have strong evidence to suggest that dogs look like their owners? Use your calculator to find the test statistic and the p-value for the significance test. So first of all, what kind of test? Goff, homogeneity, association. Do we have a claimed distribution? So it's not Goff.
Homogeneity. Or association.
Yeah, which one?
There's no key words.
There is no keyword. So sometimes there are keywords, sometimes there aren't.
Wow.
Are we looking at a difference?
Association.
Is it
It's a
There's
relation.
2 variables for
I
what?
think it's this
Population?
association.
Why do you say association?
Wait. That
No, it's
dogs
two
look like their
variables.
owners. That's like a specific category. So
2 variables, 1 population.
to be associated?
good job.
2 or more variables. So mixed breed, purebred, looks like,
1 population.
Them.
One owner aesthetic. One category long.
right, it says 2 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
I was great.
sorry. So chi-square test of association.
Wow.
So we need our expected, which means we need our totals. Let's see, 16, 9 is 25. 7 and 13 is 20. 45 total. 16 and 7 is 23. 9 and 13 is 22. So expected counts. Let's see. 25 times 23 divided by 45, 12.8 when I round. 20 times 23 divided by 45, 10.2. 25 times 22 divided by 45, 12.2. 20 times 22 divided by 45, 9.8. So, put your matrices in. Get our chi-square value and our p-value for me. Oops, forgot the equal sign.
Yeah, it's
the test
You already
statistic?
said it.
Wait, how'd you get that? So you can. How'd you get that?
It's the X. It's the little. It's the little.
It's a totally different.
It's the little
different
X.
calculator.
Okay.
I don't know how to say that. Is that?
Yeah.
Chi.
Sorry, say that again.
Do I say the chi? Is this chi?
Yes.
Dude, I did it. Chi squared. There we go. Chi squared.
Okay.
8.05.
35 minus 27.
We actually need to do it.
I have to do it.
Oh.
We should do the difference.
See, that's why I needed people to
Well,
I was supposed to, I
Yeah.
didn't even mention that, and I make mistakes, especially with subtraction. I'm really bad with subtraction. All right, what is our chi-square, Maddie? What's chi-square?
0.74.
And what's p?
0.05.
All right, so what other test could we have done? And no, it's not a chi-square test.
Just
Yeah, which one? Are we? Try
the double one.
the double one.
2 prop Z test.
2 prop z test. We could have done a 2 prop z test.
We're gonna have to do that. Is on the test, are we gonna have a question like that we could?
I don't remember one on there, but I will double check. I don't think I have one on there. I looked at it the other day and I can't remember one.
Okay.
It's just a cool fact.
It's just a
Cool
cool
fact.
fact.
Okay. Would we, first of all, what would our proportions be?
Oh, it'd be the different.
Purebred and mixed breed. But would I do, like, what numbers would I use?
Stuff
It'd be 23 out of 45.
23 out of 20.
Somebody started to say 16.
16 out of 63.
16 out of 25.
There's not that
But that would
many.
be
16 people look like their pet for purebred out of 25 purebred owners. And then 7 mixed breed owners out of 20 look like their pets. And what would our alternative be?
They don't.
They don't.
They don't, not equal to, right? We would have P1 not equal to P2. So really quickly, do that test. See what you get for the test statistic and the p-value. I know, right? How dare I?
I gotta throw some legs. Yeah, for real.
How do I do a trick? How do I throw a
And it
curveball?
would not be equal to that, what she said.
Ask Anna. Why are you asking me?
Dude, I already forgot all this.
Did you just say I'm a man?
Is a man, is that what you asked him?
No.
I don't know.
How do you throw a curveball?
I'm just kidding.
Don't you play outfield? No, shortstop. No, second base.
What's our test?
I knew that.
Wow.
Three.
That is your third strike. You're on.
Why corny jokes really are rubbing off on you guys.
That was a good one.
I mean, I said outfield.
Okay, well
There's
that was
not
offensive.
Oh, sorry.
I want to be an
Why
outfielder.
is outfield offensive?
Outfield was a joke.
Boom, I filmed in the bottom part too.
China plays outfield. Yeah.
So why would it offend you?
It was just a joke. I actually want
Oh
to be
wait,
an
that doesn't make sense.
outfielder.
I can't be.
Why?
I don't know.
How do you? So how do ladies pitch a curveball?
I was a pitcher and then I got walk up, hit off the knee, and then I don't pitch anymore.
Oh,
That's not right. They just.
I
I think we like.
Because you're faster.
like it has to do with how you hold it.
Well,
and
like
release,
when you
but-
throw a drop ball, you roll your hand over, and then when you throw rise, you twist up like that. But like you can throw, I don't know. You can like change it.
I know.
I don't know how to throw a curveball.
Sadly, because my dad and all his brothers, one of my uncles was a major league pitcher, and so I know a little more about it.
I got
Wasn't
to
because
watch
he's the guy.
I feel like
That's
that's how it goes.
And then my dad was a pitcher, and his brother was a pitcher in the minor leagues. So baseball, like he really tried to get me to play softball, and I did for a while. And then I was like, yeah, no. Wait, don't pack up. What's our Z equal?
1.93.
And what's the P?
0.053.
Look at that. The P is the same.
0. Wow.
Anybody want to make a guess between Z and chi-square?
No. If you square, they're like the same.
If you square Z, you get chi-square.
Z equals pi.
Wow.
Well, not yet.
It's like pi squared is equal.
Mind blown.
Yeah. And like, I honestly, like, I was so tired when I was in that.
It's another option if you forgot how to do test of association.
Or you don't want to find all your expected values.
Okay, that's all they
Woo.
So Tuesday's test review days, right? For the musical all day.